Yeah, we both sound good. You ready?
I am.
Hitting go live now.
All right.
Go live, sweet chariot. There we go. We're live.
Hello. Hello.
Hello. Okay, go fast. Yeah, exactly. Welcome back, everybody. It is time for another Prodigy review.
Yes.
And today we're looking at episode 12 of season 1. Let Sleeping Borg Lie.
/ episode 2 of batch 3.
Yeah.
Which is really episode 12 of batch 1.
Yep.
Boy, this episode filled with great thumbnail options that aren't fully spoilery, just look cool. Because there was just they're always fighting each other for cool ones.
There's nothing spoilery by showing anything Borg related.
That's
because
what I'm
the episode's titled "Let Sleeping Borg Lie."
That's what I'm
So
saying.
if anybody complained about that, I was gonna fight them to the death.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. I mean, honestly, even them being attacked, of course it's going to happen. You know, the idea of a Borg episode is going to be there's going to be Borg that are going to cause havoc. So it kind of is a foregone conclusion either way. But yes, hi Stuart.
Hi, how's it going? Long time no see.
We've had a day. Please, Stuart, announce what we've got special going on. It's real special, and it's really going on.
Well, we got a fantastic episode coming out on Saturday, which you guys will enjoy. And Sunday, we got an even more special one because we got to interview again, talk to Aaron Waltke again today. Got an exclusive on this particular episode and his thoughts and his take on the Borg in this episode. So tune in for that on Sunday.
So if you had questions about the Borg, we talked to the lead writer about the Borg today.
And we learned quite a bit.
We really did. Now, it's impossible now to re-review this without that knowledge going in. I certainly found that in rewatching it just a few minutes ago. I don't know about you.
Yeah. It's going to be hard. Well, we'll do our thing. We have the answers to a lot of things now. So I know people are going to bring up questions because I saw a lot last night on my first reaction live. And so now we have answers to most of them. We might have missed one or two things we got to ask about, but they know what they're doing over there on the Prodigies. I'm just saying.
Yes. It's one of those things where he has this reputation with us that, sort of like Mike Mann, but Mike has more hats to, or more places to spin. Whereas Aaron is literally there to write and produce. And so your question is, it's like, oh, no. I have something occasionally, but very infrequently. So that's quite fun. But I'm going to start sharing. And do check that out, guys, if you have any questions, thoughts. Because he goes beyond just the what if, but also the what is, etc. Right, see you in a second, Stuart.
Yeah, go share. All right, we got 26 people watching with 17 likes. Hit that like button if you haven't already. Help us out in that way. Or subscribe to the channel. Join the channel. Head on over to Patreon/Trekyards. There's lots of ways to help us out. But hitting the like is one of the easiest ones. And just hit like. It'll be easy. You can do it. Also, check the description down below. We have links to Teespring and TeePublic Store with a lot of cool Trekyards stuff. Got some search purchase yesterday, actually. We get notifications when people purchase stuff. So it's great to see some stuff being sold. So hopefully you guys enjoy anything you get from there. There are a lot of cool things. If you want to wait for a sale, they do sales quite frequently, up to 40% off. So throw something in your cart, save it, and then go back during a sale, and you'll be able to scoop it for a good price. So at least go take a look. We'd really appreciate that. Also, super chat if you're able to. We want to hear your questions, comments, concerns. We already got 2 from Ozzy, which is amazing. So thank you, Ozzy. I'll read those as soon as Samuel gets back here. But yeah, we want to hear your thoughts, your interactions on this one. So by all means, let us know what you're thinking. It's important. But yeah, another Borg may have looked like a rhino. Yes, indeed. It's not a rhino though. It's a species, which we've seen already at Tars Lamora. I knew we had seen it before. So there you go. That's one question answered.
You called it.
Yeah.
Something you said. Yes.
We got some super chats already to start off. So Ozzy throws in $5. We're the Trekyards. You you'll be assimilated into our collective by going to sleep. Saying we're boring, Ozzy? Is that what you're saying? Just let sleeping Trekyards lie. Ozzy also throws in $2 and says, with the Borg hammerhead maneuver. Yeah. Hammerhead Borg. Very cool look. And I Am Misi throws in $10. Amazing. I think I like the design of their hand phaser less the more they are on screen. Love the rest of the new equipment, though. I actually like the new phasers. They're kind of cool. But, yeah, I can see why people wouldn't necessarily like them. It's fine.
I'm not a fan.
I know you're not.
I hope we see proper Dauntless normal phases at some point. Because we better.
Well,
we're not gonna.
They're using the Prodigy. They're using the Prodigy tricorder, so.
Yep. I know it makes sense. It's fine, but come on, girl. Give me that. Give me that sugar. That classic phaser sugar. You know. At least they're not guns. At least they were smart enough to say we're not going to go Picard and go guns. We're going to actual phasers. So that was good.
Yes.
With very big LEDs.
All right.
Let's see the bit rate going to hold up. Yes. Yes. So Stuart, then.
That's me.
It is the one and only. And I just realized the other card is stretched. What do you think of season 1? Somehow episode 12. The Borg one.
As always with Prodigy, I did enjoy it. I don't think it's anywhere near the best out of the season that we've seen so far. So a very, very linear path as far as I'm concerned. Very like the importance of friendship episode. It kind of built up to the point of, oh, there's a bad thing, 0, and then immediately like come right back down to we're all friends. We got the best collective ever, which is great. Seeing the Borg back was awesome. I love that they are still hobbled and just disabled a bit, quite a bit from the neurogenic
Future virus
pathogen. There you go. So that's great. And yeah, it was a very simplistic episode, honestly. Needed to get into a thing. That thing didn't pan out, and then we're done. But we learned about the sub deck below the bridge. Interesting little thing. You be quiet, you. And yeah. Anyway, so the Borg are back, and not in a big way. The Borg are just back, and it's important because it's important to say that we know why they didn't attack the protostar. We know why they didn't use the tubules to inject nanites. We know all that stuff now. We kind of had questions about that going in, but we speculated that we might have the answers, and we kind of did, but not really. But now we know, and knowing is half the battle. G.I. Joe. That's my take on the episode. It was pretty good.
That G.I. Joe is the Lord and Savior of your knowledge, is what I'm hearing.
G.I. Joe's fantastic.
I just realised that I've always got a diamond. The Borg are always above me, watching. And, although below them's relativity, I guess protects me, I suppose.
Are you sure you're not a character in like a Star Trek version of The Sims? That's the little diamond above your head.
It would be green. That's a good shout, actually. God, that's terrible. No, what did I think? Yeah.
You also have a Halo. You got DS9, so you're like an angel as well.
Yeah, it's the wrong perspective, but yes. Yes, Stuart, what did I think?
What did you think?
My opinion has changed, of course, because once you have the answers, it's a bit hard to think the same. Because knowing their logic, you see the tendrils of the thought process. Whereas the first time, you're trying to find the tendrils yourself. So, as you know, from the first time, I thought it was the most childlike version, the most, not simplified, but kept to a child mould. Now, it's probably always going to be the case, because in theory, you can take the Borg full-on body horror, or very clinical zombie with no personal, oh no, they're a zombie force. Like, you can kind of go two ways with them. But they went sort of mildly horrific. I'm not one for horror anyway. I didn't find them overly scary because they were moving for me, in a very, it's a 3D animation person moving way. With real actors, they actually are performing. It's like a stormtrooper. A stormtrooper actually does give some performance. There is something added, right? So that those drones, the way they walk, they don't have any personality pretty much, except the Rhino. And so them even being zombies, the concept of zombies, didn't hit me as scary, but obviously that's personal preference. That's fine. Definitely simpler than we thought. First time in, I was hoping, expecting, thinking these grand connective tissue moments, who knows what, really, really cool story. It's a very simple story, as you said. It's 20 minutes of, wow, we achieved all that, and yet, oh, is that what we did? Which is a fun dichotomy of vibes. It's good that Zero got something to do. That was good. There's good jokes, Jank and Pog, and I like the talk lines. They're fun. But there's still oddities in it. How did they bump into a Borg cube? A parked Borg cube with a proximity warning. Maybe you could say the neighbour was hiding it, but space is so vast. So that felt odd. They leave it, they don't get chased anyway. It feels a bit off. I didn't really think for a second that when Zero did his orb of deactivation, it would hit the entire cube. I thought it was just the room or maybe the zone. I've never considered in the episode like he disabled the entire cube, otherwise that makes a Medusan insanely powerful. I wouldn't think that was possible, so they weren't being chased. There's little moments of, well, that was easy getting in, that was easy getting out. It removes the tension factor that it could have with very small changes, like tiny changes to the structure and the pace. That said, they commit fully on the Borg cube interior. It looks cool, if not a bit weird. Again, videos on that coming. And Dawn and stuff was good, but fleeting and need to be at least 3 or 4 times more. But that's just because it's like full Starfleet.
Yeah, I did enjoy the Dauntless stuff and Dr. Noom and seeing the sick bay and stuff. That was pretty cool. So
yeah, he was funny a second time because I could focus on what he was actually saying, I thought.
Yeah.
He was obviously far more combative. Jankum's actually less combative than he could be. He's far more oomph,
Janeway has a thing for doctors with very bad bedside manner. Kind of her thing.
That is very true.
But anyway, yes. So let's get into this episode.
Yes. So we start off with a shocking scene, honestly. Now, I get they're children, but we had said in our last season, well, this is going to be a short mystery because they could just check the holodeck logs. We said, no, that's going to be silly because, of course, they're going to say that Zero's energy disabled disabled the whatever. The first thing you do is check what Gwen and her father were speaking about in their secret meeting. Now, this might only be a few days later, fine, maybe. But it was like, oh, they have access this entire time? Why is Gwen even thinking, what happened to my father? Go watch it. So this was a very strange scene of like, oh, you had it the entire time. You literally had the secrets the entire time. What? So that hit me again.
Zero rushed to deactivate the program before the holodeck Zero revealed his true form, which I found odd. Like, I don't think the holodeck would hurt them if they had the safety protocols on. It would just show like a white light. It wouldn't necessarily show. Like, I don't think it would drive them. Anyway, it would have just been the reliving the memory of hurting Gwen is what.
Yeah, I assume so too.
Stop. Yeah.
Yeah, the holodeck should be smart enough to not recreate a deadly visual radiation. Is basically what it is. But at the same time, if it can do that, then the holodeck is more powerful than we think. But is just the light wave itself deadly? But yeah, it's just more just the my shame, my shame. But what do you think of it, like replaying the scene and not even caveating that they could have played it for the last few days or weeks?
Didn't even cross my mind. I thought it was just a natural thing to go check that and get the whole story. And Gwen doesn't know what happened to her dad after they took him off the holodeck. So she can see that he got blasted by Zero, but she already knew that. It was what they did with him and left him on Tars Lamora that she didn't know about because she was out of it at that point. So
Yeah, it's just weird. They've done all these side missions and not bothered checking the holodeck once for the secrets.
Maybe they have. Man, this is their fifth time in there reviewing things or discussing. I don't know.
Oh, also, speaking of, this is the first time that Murph's ill. Well, not ill, evolving.
I thought he was going to pop into the cocoon in this episode, but you can tell he's getting to that stage where he needs to, like, evolve, so...
It makes more sense to have a build.
Yeah.
So I like that. Mm-hmm. And I absolutely I love the, you know, it's a weapon, it's on the ship, where is it? And Jenkins like, not to be insensitive to everybody, but find it! I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah. There's a weapon on my ship.
He really cares about the ship. I thought it was a really nice moment. And it's a nice little montage of finding... Of looking, I should say. And, secrets, Stuart, secrets. Invisible ink.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, looking for the weapon was interesting. Nothing down here, nothing down here. And then, yes, you get the invisible mark. And her key automatically, like, configures to the thing and unlocks it. And you get Janeway being like, I don't recall this subdeck being here.
Subdeck as well. Remember that as a concept, which is cool. And this also tells you so much about the interference of the diviner in this ship. We keep adding more layers to how much actual control. We don't know if the diviner actually had control of the ship for days, weeks, months. Maybe he entirely refitted it. Maybe there's more than we think. Maybe Dreadnought was on the ship for a few days, kit bashing, rerouting. Like, there's all these secrets that could come out at some point. Doesn't matter if he's been searching for 10 years. He might have been on it for a few days. Because it felt like... I don't know if it's implying that was never a ramp and they modified the bottom, or is that just a sub-room access panel area?
I think it was always there. It just was hidden from the blueprints or whatever by whoever. Okay. I like to think that it's possibly next to the main computer core.
Well, it's not in space.
Access.
Yeah.
Maybe it's an access point to it or something, just off the bridge, so you don't have to like scramble throughout the ship to get there. I don't know, but I can't see them adding it, like actually constructing it themselves.
I mean, just removing a bit of hull. I mean, wouldn't do that much. But it's to me, it kind of vibes as if, because we know that in the front of the ship there is a glass panel and you can see under to the tech. So it's to me, it's just the back part of that bit of tech. That's why I kind of assumed it was below the bridge, because there is stuff below the bridge. But I like the fact that it is very cool design, simple yet elegant, organic. They make a very point saying organic machine. It's not plugged in. It's not doing anything. It's entirely passive. But I love Gwen's argument of it's a future weapon. There isn't an off switch. There isn't a plug to. There isn't a cord to fry. This is so unknown. I like that entirely unknownness. It's a good vibe.
And Dan says, how do they have this recorded for holodeck replay? Because it all happened on the holodeck. It's just replaying what happened on the holodeck already. So
you always do that by default.
Yeah. SVS Guru 2000 throws in €5. Still not convinced they can't drop the weapon into a black hole or star unless they can't transport it off the ship. Well, it was mentioned, like, why don't you just send it out an airlock? Well, no, somebody else could find it and use it as a weapon. No, I thought the same thing. Just, if you're going to literally airlock it out, if you're able to, launch it into a sun. Maybe that won't destroy it. I don't know. But there would be ways, you would think. If you can get it off the ship, you don't have to worry about somebody else picking it up necessarily. You can put it somewhere where it's... I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's a two-pronged answer. They first say that's what everyone's thinking. But the first answer is we can't let it be a problem to everyone else, which is silly because, like I said, a sun's orbit, that problem solved in a few seconds of thought. But at the end, the Borg actively make that a null point if you can't remove it anyway. And that's really, at the end of the day, the function of this episode, to jump the shark and skip to the end of saying, ooh, the audience says, ooh, they could do this, this, and this, and this. Oh no, the Borg say they can't. Oh, okay. Moving on. Like that's the point of it, is to move past it as being a weapon into the next part of the story. Which is a bold choice to do, having none of that sort of mystery element and just use the most powerful sci-fi species in the galaxy that we know of to be that is a fun but radical choice.
Mm-hmm. Ozzy Madero stars in $2. Bless you, Admiral. Yes, thank you, Ozzy. But then we get, speaking of moving the story along.
Beep, 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 beep.
Oh no, what's that? Proximity alert. Oh, look. This is stupid as shit ever.
It's a terrible edit. It's an absolutely terrible edit. No offense to them.
A proximity alert is like 100,000 kilometers away from the ship. Sensors have detected something. Give you time to do things, to analyze it, to,
And even a 3-kilometer wide
it's knocking
ship.
on the front door.
And it's still quite far away because it's 3 kilometers by 3 kilometers. I get that. Like, it's perspective. It's still a long way. But they weren't at warp. So they were therefore having a pit stop because at sublight, you're not going anywhere. If you're not travelling, you're just not at warp. There's no practical reason to be at sublight specifically. So they had to warp out into this system at some point, scan the system, not detect the Borg cube for several light years because you can detect several light years, and then sublight for, I would assume, hours and hours, and they wouldn't go at full sublight. Why would you waste energy? And then it's there.
Yeah. It's
an entirely mishandled moment. It should have been they were at warp, proximity, large power supply of unknown source, drop out of warp, let's investigate. Vroom. There you go. Tiny change, very, very odd edit.
And Tara, yes, in episode 10, all of that happened on the holodeck.
Mm-hmm.
Her dad took her to the holodeck, recreated Solum to show her, then showed her 50 years and past the point of first contact.
It's a great scene. It's actually a really good sequence.
I think a lot of people are confused that it didn't happen on the holodeck. It was all on the holodeck.
Mm-hmm.
So,
mm-hmm.
Jasper Jedi throws in $10. Happy Friday. I think visually the Borg were great, but as Trek culture said, I felt they were kind of made less dangerous than they should be.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a reason for that.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah. But you don't know that necessarily without talking to the right.
Yeah. That'll be out on Sunday. Check out that video.
Yeah.
Very informative.
Very informative. But great looking Borg cube.
Tell Sean Ferrick to check it out as well.
Yes. But great looking Borg cube. Visually, shots-wise, great visuals in general. Borg sphere, nice choice. And they have no idea what Borg is. And Janeway is like, I reckon running. Like, flat out. It's like, just run. No shame. I think
you're watching too much Doctor Who.
Oh.
Run.
And don't blink while you do it.
Yeah. I love that Janeway's like, we got to get the hell out of here. If we're not going to, though, I might as well brief you guys. I mean, you would think the briefing would be like hours long, knowing Janeway's knowledge of the Borg. So.
Well, but with this Janeway, no, because she wouldn't know what actual Janeway thought
would hope
of the Borg. So. She would know the logs, saying it through Janeway's perspective of the holo Janeway. So she wouldn't have that same emotional, like, I was assimilated twice, but one of me was future me. I don't know that because I wasn't there, but they basically they say they could run, but they're so smart they might have the key. They adapt to have the key to solving the bomb. I like the logic there in theory. I just wish the Borg, it felt more of an event to get into the cube because the light's still on. People are home, they're just not moving, but they are able to get in surfacely. It makes other episodes look like, oh, it's a non-moment almost, which is kind of strange.
Yeah.
And you can easily say there's like, maybe use the proto drive to bring them out of proto phase, and that lets you go through their shield matrix. Like, there's things you could have done to kind of add a bit of extra oomph to it, but nope, it's that easy.
Yep. Then we cut to the Dauntless and Janeway ordering tea from the replicator, which is a nice nod to Endgame, where she's drinking tea in the future. Doctor's orders and all that.
And of course, she's using the correct mug, and this is a famous recreation of a shot from another episode where she got tea.
Yes.
So that was beautiful. I recognised it instantly. And really good to see real Janeway, because this actually adds to the character. The other one's good.
Well, she replicated coffee the first time.
In the first episode?
In Voyager.
Yeah. Well, yeah. She loves coffee.
Yeah.
That's the joke. Yeah. She hasn't had coffee in years. Which I guess is interesting because she knows her other self said that. But then I guess, I mean, how much are you going to think about your old self versus living your own life? You're not always going to be thinking back to those 7 minutes of interactions you had with them. So, BST. And I like this uniform, Stuart. They are a bit, in some shots, just like TNG uniforms, give or take. But you know what? TNG's great, so I'm fine with that.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm so freaking thrilled, Stuart, that the last 2 episodes, 2? Yeah. No, 1. Last 1 episode, almost every shot of these people, the comm badge looks dual copper. And it pissed me the hell off, because people kept telling me this, and I kept saying, no, it's meant to be 2, but they rendered it wrong, like, there's just a lighting error. Every shot, it looks better, they've got the correct colour, it looks so much better. Like, you see the delta, Stuart. Yay, they fixed their lighting for the 2nd episode.
That's a different, brighter lit ship, I guess. I don't know.
Sure, whatever. Just, yay.
SVS Guru 2000, €2. Why is there a tea bag? Because she ordered it with a tea bag. A replicator can do pretty much anything. A lot of people like to dip their tea bag in and then pull it out. And
it's an English thing, I guess.
It's not an English thing. It's a tea thing. Okay, it's not an English thing.
Good.
Don't.
What? If they didn't know
what it was. Don't get all superior on us. Yeah, because my grandma used to like dip it to the proper color that she wanted, then she would pull it out and wrap it around the handle, or put it on the saucer. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, she could order it. She could literally replicate it the exact way she likes it. But if she's just starting to drink tea, she's probably like trying to find that balance, of what she likes. And you have to have the tea bag in there to do that.
Yeah.
So.
And, I mean, this is one of the great things about replicators. It'll be identical every time. So any variable adds the spice to life. Adding a tea bag and a water separately means it will now release at a slightly different way each time. And you can now pull out at a slightly different time. So she can now have 1,000 variations of tea from having them separately versus a cup of tea finished. That by itself is worth noting. So I actually don't know if that's intentional, but yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. All right, then we get sickbay. I love seeing the sickbay monitors. I think they look great. Mm-hmm. I like the color of sickbay. It's all great. But you got the diviner rambling on about this. They took his daughter. I have to complete my mission. I have to save them, which is referring to Solom, I assume. But he's all doing it in a coma. He can't hear Janeway. And Dr. Noom is like, well, the fact that he's like alive and not a frozen corpse means I'm a miracle worker. So I mean, deal with it.
It's true. That's a great line.
Yeah.
It's like, I saved his life. Give me time. It's been 2 days.
Yeah.
It's great.
I like how she's like, I need to talk to him, and he's like, oh sure, yeah, let me just wake him up. Except I don't know his neurological system functions, let alone what species he is.
You idiot, Admiral. What do you know? Yeah, this is great.
Yeah.
And doesn't his combat look amazing?
Yeah, they do.
Like really, really good.
And her little helper there suggests that the suit they found him in had a life-sustaining bioserum, so maybe replicating that would help revive him. And she's like, oh, I like your thinking. That's officer thinking.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I wish I could kiss tail like that, Ensign. Keep it up and we'll be taking orders from you. I love this doctor, by the way. So. Yeah,
his dialogue really impressed me as well. It's so characterful. Because we rarely see actual Tellarites being actual Tellarites. Mm-hmm. Like knowing they can kind of be full force, because that's a hell of a thing to say. Good job kissing ass, Ensign. That's great. It's terrible, but it's great. Yeah, really good.
And then Janeway asks for the last proto jump signature, and it should arrive at relay station 721 in a few hours. So they're heading for the relay station. Mm-hmm. I guess later they forget to scan ahead of time. They just come out of warp. Right by.
They don't even bother.
That we'll address that later.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a relay station. You'd think that communication would be important.
And they would send out signals all the day, every day. Signal station. Anyway. Oof.
But now we're flying through the Borg ship.
And it looks like a city. That's the vibe that we got in our sub episode. The way it's presented,
Here-
it's the scale, it's the scope, it's the
Yeah. Here's the dialogue that Aaron was talking about today. It seems the cube went dark for a reason. A neurolytic pathogen disabled their nanoprobes, and shut down their drones. So no nanoprobes. There you go. There's your line of dialogue that explains it.
Because that was our biggest question, and you can see that in today's release, that it felt so unnatural throughout the entire episode, them being grabbed without a first thing you do. Well, second thing you grab them, first thing you do. Now, when I heard that, I guess I did hear that the first time, my brain interpreted it as dormant for now, like the ship. So when the ship reactivates, they reactivate, because in my head canon logic, you need nanoprobes to live. They're so integral to your biocircuitry that they are part of what's keeping you alive. So I did not think, even for a second, that they were like destroyed. And that's actually the case, Stuart. Nanoprobes have been like disabled 100%, which is not what I took from
Well, Aaron did say they could still be functioning, just not properly within their bodies. So they're not being used. He did say that.
I thought you
just
meant
talked to him like
I thought you
2
meant the
hours
tech
ago.
in general. Tech in general.
Yeah, I mean, it's still there. It could be functioning, just not doing its proper functions. Could still be repairing the body and stuff. That's why they're still alive, even though they've been out of commission for a while.
I see what you mean.
So,
But it's still, the dialogue didn't to me, even re-listen to it, didn't quite give me the scale that it was trying to tell me. But that's just me. But great looking Borg cube, I mean, wow, that's it really helps brighten these things up, Stuart. Just like with Picard and Changing Worlds, you see the detail and you brighten them up. Up the gamma, guys.
I love how Jank and Pob is like, it's spooky, but carbon tubing, thermocouplers, ooh, monotanium aperture valves.
Yes.
He's all excited. And then he like hugs it and looks up, and there's a drone right there. It's like, shh, be quiet.
Yeah. Which I like the fact that without the context of how awful the Borg are, even hearing it, you're not processing it fully. So you're just like, this is an amazing engineering marvel. I mean, if he was on his generation ship, they got kidnapped on Tars Lamora, he's only seen this much tech in the universe. You throw in this, as an engineer, everything is a marvel. So I love that's what he sees. It's a fresh vibe of walking to Borg Cube and being like, I love this place. Oh wait, the zombies. So yeah, it's a very effective edit. And
we don't want to wake him up, or all of them. It's like, oh.
And remember this guy's face, because he's going to be around in many, many sequences. He even gets shot once and comes back. Because they only have so many Borg models. This guy.
Continue walking, and we hear Zero saying that this place contains the assimilated, the accumulated knowledge of thousands of assimilated worlds. So there's a chance that's why they're here, to find out if there's an answer to this problem of this weapon on their ship. And they need to find the vinculum. So, which the word vinculum always makes me kind of laugh. It just sounds so dirty.
Oh, you think it sounds so high tech and fancy. But there is a certain. I mean, this thing is a giant cube. In theory, the vinculum's near the middle.
Yeah.
I guess they did sort of fly further in, but there's a slight oddity of they're walking.
And soon climbing.
And soon climbing, yes. Arik Sung's brothers climbing. No. It's fine, but I don't know what I would have wanted, but it's just walking, and without a map, it's a bit of an odd set of sequences. And I think, for the average audience, they won't understand how big a cube is, despite seeing the sequences. That said, I love the no turbo lift jab, because you always beam to where you go. They wouldn't. Well, they wouldn't. Yeah.
You're saying the size of the cube there, and Lissa Jericho says a very tiny cube.
Well, if you can walk, yes.
Thoughts? Yeah. We're not sure of the scale necessarily. We did see the protostar outside, but again, perspective.
And also it's like with the Dauntless that one time. It's not that small. It's not that big. It's And I have worked with Borg cubes plenty of times, and framing them's hard, because if you want them all in shot, they've got to be like hundreds of kilometers away. And if they're close, they fill the entire frame. there's no in between of that. so you kind of screwed with how you do it. What do you think about the turbo lift jab or joke? Oh, missed you. Still can't hear. That's not talking to me. Talking to Sylvia?
No, I was talking to you.
Welcome back. Hello, Sylvia. What do you think of the turbo gag?
I thought it was hilarious. Because why would they need it? The Borg, you always see them beaming wherever they need to go, especially on their own ship. Mm-hmm. So they wouldn't need one necessarily. Mm-hmm. Plus, they have enough drones on each level that you don't need to send drones from one level to another necessarily, because there's all those drones. There's drones everywhere on a Borg ship. So I kind of laughed a little bit at the turbo lift jab. So it was great.
Yeah.
And look at this thing they're climbing. It's even smaller than the Discovery turbolift shafts. So,
well, as we know, the Borg cube is nothing compared to turbolift shafts. Those things go on forever. No, it's true. If because this is not a vessel like we really can comprehend. If you need to fix something in section 76, you'll activate a drone on section 76. Even if you need a certain mechanical arm piece, there's probably one on junction 76 or 74 that can then walk there. There's no limit of people or variation. You never are going to need to physically move from one side to the other without a beam, or they're right there. So it's a I never considered that, but it's a good little beat.
Mm-hmm. But they find the vinculum.
Yes.
Which the chamber it's in reminds me a lot of the Queen's chamber from the artifacts in Picard.
I mean, the whole art design is very familiar to that. They definitely use that as the majority influence. Makes sense to some extent. I wish it was a bit more Voyager-y. As I said to you in our review, I really wish it had one corridor like Voyager, because it's fine to have variations in one cube. So they go through these big cavernous. As they get close, they have to go through a really intense little cube with the strobing. Like, that's all you need to make me happy to show there's both. But everything's a big, wide open space, and this room.
Yeah. And then Jen comes like, stand aside, let me work my magic. And he's like, does anyone see a console, buttons? I'm kind of getting creeped out. I was hoping he wouldn't start hitting it, like his percussive maintenance, just like, and break something. I was like, no, don't hit it. But that was kind of a neat scene.
Yeah, I didn't even consider that for a second, because of course they don't need to. No, and even normally in Voyager, Jane, they get Seven, and either she like nanoprobes herself to access, or like use a pad to get access, which I guess they could have, but they don't know the systems. So it's great. It's almost a paperweight. This thing, like you can't do anything with it unless you've got full access.
But Dal figures out really quick. We got to plug into this to get any answers. And say, oh no, somebody's got to be assimilated.
And if you look at this,
or plugged in.
If you look at this live still for a second, this is one of the few times that you can see the texturing, right? It's blatant, it's obvious. You can see everything's a very basic shape, but it works. The Borg that works. This is probably a very, 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 very simple geometry room with like 6 textures just slapped on, but it works fine in this case. I kept thinking that throughout, like that's just a flat wall with one texture, and it works okay.
Mm-hmm.
So who did you think was going to get shoved in the alcove?
Well, with the way they ended that scene, they kind of zoom in on like Gwen, and she turns, and it's like Zero. That's what I thought. But I thought there's kind of like a red herring cut to commercial moment, right?
Who could it be?
Yeah.
Although
Zero makes the most sense.
Although
but for different reasons than they come up with. I thought Zero's non-corporeal. If Zero can interface with it, Zero's fine.
Mm-hmm. One of the notes
we'll talk about the non-corporeal thing in a second, because we did get answers from Aaron about that as well. But we'll talk about that when we get there.
So one of the note that I only realized this time around is that none of these people are tall. Like Dahl's like 5 foot, 4 foot something. These are small people, so all the sets look bigger anyway. Because these alcoves are made for like 6 foot people and shoes, and yet they're all standing there, tiny to it. So that kind of adds the sense of like they're not as big as the sense of over the top because they are small. So I was thinking, well, if you need to actually connect to the top thing, they're not even going to reach. Like Zero has to physically hover up to it. They can't even reach it, let alone whatever. But I wasn't for a second thinking anything else except Zero, because you need Borg implants to connect to a Borg alcove, because that's what it's doing. It's not connecting via subconscious, it's connecting via the tech. So Zero's the only one that could connect to it because he's got tech. So kids, they don't know that, but it's like, well, Zero. There's only one option.
Yep.
But it's fine. Small thing. And then we get the inner vinculum. And the tentacle monster's back, Stuart. I guess Star Trek Picard Season 1's villains have now infiltrated the Borg. Because there they are, Stuart.
Mm-hmm. No, before we get to that real quick, though, I like Zero's thinking on it. Like, I was part of a hive mind. I know what it's like to be in one, so don't worry. I won't be assimilated because I know what it's like to be in there and how it feels, and, I've kind of got used to being out of one. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was great. Not because I'm non-corporeal, but because I've been in a hive mind before as part of being a Medusan. So, good logic. Mm-hmm. SPS Guru 2000 though throws in €10.
Thank you.
Zero's also already interfacing with their robot body, so could connect to the hive via that. Their explanation with them already being used to hive mind was unnecessary. I disagree. I think that's a very important part of the Medusan culture, that they're just non-corporeal and they're all like one hive mind essentially. But yeah, I don't think it was unnecessary. But we find out that the Medusans are species 802, which I got to correct Aaron on today. He said, I think it's species 806. I'm like, nope, my notes, 802, right there. Ha, I corrected one of the Prodigy people.
The lead writer, Stuart. But inside the vinculum, I like it. Geometric shapes, always a winner with Borg. How do you visualize a non-visualization thing? I like it. It's fun to see Zero raw. That was fun. I certainly do wish there'd been... I think it's because the original Borg voice from Voyager was absolutely definitive. The way they did it, the way they modulated it. I guess they hired the same guy for years and years and the same chorus of people. It was iconic. Even so much the original TNG one sounded a bit lackluster. This guy was fine. Mm-hmm. He sounded to me like a guy in a booth recording dialogue versus the scary inner monologue of the Borg. I get they're weakened Borg, so weakened voice, but in this situation, I would have kept with the full Borg to kind of give the power, because to me it was lackluster and a guy speaking. That's just me. Thoughts?
Well, again, Aaron kind of talked about this. The cube is severed from the collective.
Which they don't say.
The collective of just...
I know,
but it's just the collective of the cube.
Yeah.
And you do hear the occasional voice whispering here and there.
It's very subtle.
Actually, unless it's very subtle.
It's really. I mean,
one of the voices is Aaron himself.
Spoilers.
Found that out. So.
But would you agree? Would you have preferred it be a bit of a stronger Borg punch voice, just a bit, or are you happy with how it was?
I'm kind of happy with how it was, knowing the explanations behind everything. Them being weak and just coming out of hibernation or sleeping,
Although they're not out of hibernation yet, because the vinculum's on, so they're all in sleep mode. So he's talking to sleep mode.
Yes.
Yeah, I suppose that would have been nice actually if the voice had been very tepid in sleep, and then once it turned on, voices joined. Now that would have worked. There is one moment at the very last thing the Borg say when it's almost the chorus. It's stronger, but I wish they'd had that earlier. That would have been
And they almost do a little red herring thing here too with Zero as well, because Zero's like, you aren't harmed by my appearance, and it's like, it's been known to hurt others. Here you cannot hurt us. Your uniqueness is acknowledged here. Your distinctiveness will be added to our. So it's almost like Zero's. It's kind of, you almost get the sense that Zero might be tempted for a second to be like,
oh yeah,
I can be myself here. I don't have to be confined in that metal shell. So it's like, oh no, somewhere where they're accepted.
No, I bought that. I mean, Zero wants to talk to people, wants to hang out, but in the real world, every person's a danger. to them, to him, to yeah, I get that. It's a good. I mean, yeah, and the Borg weren't overly mean. I mean, the Borg are meant to be quite clinical. They're robots, right? In essence. So he's like, "Oh, you guys are talkative." There's a bit of personality going on here that works quite well.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one nice thing about this next shot, which we didn't include our show notes for today's recording, but in this view of the Borg cube, when Jeremy says they're scanning us, you can actually see the cutouts fully, which you can't tell in the exterior because it's dark. So that's how they actually look, Stuart.
Yep. And you see different parts of the board or the cube firing up because they're waking up now that they made contact.
Mm-hmm. And I do quite like the Zero, another powerful mind, sort of powered them up.
Yeah.
That's a good trigger. Well, I'm surprised that the Borg didn't do a jamming field, stop comms. I was expecting that from this scene onwards, to say now we're alone, but they have to talk to Jeremy the entire time. I'm like, oh.
Well, they do it to the transporter. So they're doing what they can. They're still hobbled and crippled, remember. And disabled.
But it is a Borg cube, though. Defeaters of the galaxy. You know?
I know.
I don't know why they don't send drones to assimilate the protostar at this point, because alien ship, very advanced, in our hangar bay. First thing you do is you send some drones to assimilate it. Like, first thing. It's more important than people. That's just me.
Mm-hmm. So they try to wake up Z, but no go there. Some of the defenses in the Borg cube have fired up, they did say. So they can't be beamed out. They got to find another way. So they have to leave Zero, and they got to go. They'll come back for Zero. Yeah. Then we get to meet the rhino-headed man, Borg, which was neat. You know, you got to assume that the Borg have assimilated all kinds of species. Everything from non-corporeal to like huge beasts. So it's actually kind of cool to see that. And in live action, that's not something that's super easy to do. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, and I do like the laser turning on before they go in. That's a nice little visual gag that we get. But the lasers don't really play a part the rest of the episode for head lasers. So I like that as a little... Yeah. Get it. Now, I obviously do wish that it had a few more variant races, because it is the same... They're all humanoids, and you can tell, as you said, it's probably the same two man and woman model, but with different helmets on, because you can't tell. But you can tell, there's a few shots where there's two identical people standing next to each other, as one in particular with two ladies. You have got existing models from other episodes. It's all effort, I get that, 100%. Rhino's great. Next time include more aliens. Because this is kind of the chance, isn't it? Like you can do whatever you want. But considering everything's a fresh build, I mean, I can't imagine the timescale to build everything here. Yes, it might be low resolution, because it's all sort of squarey stuff, but gosh, yeah.
Yeah. Graham McGregor throws in $10.
Thank you.
Can't watch right now, thinking about last night's conversation. Zero willingly connected to the Borg and had the means to do so. If the Borg couldn't assimilate a Medusan before, they got their chance. Well, they already knew the Medusans, though, species 802. So they had run into them before. Whether they've assimilated any or not is anyone's guess. But yeah. So we'll get the whole "you will be assimilated" from the Borg drones approaching them. And Dal's like, not right now. Fires his phaser, takes one down, and goes, oh, yeah, this was easy. And they all start firing. But the Borg adapt right away. Which I wish they would have said something about remodulating the phasers. I would have the phasers, all Starfleet phasers, on an automatic remodulation, just as standard. But, yeah, oh well. And then we get to that in a second. 41 people watching, 36 likes, guys. Hit that like button if you haven't already. Let's try to get to 50. That's another 14 likes. And go vote on the poll. The poll is, so how were the Borg done, do you think? Well done. Okay. or I was not a fan, to be honest. Should have been well done, medium, or rare.
Or plump rhino steak, just really good. Rhino rump. What are the results, Stuart, so far? Because I'd like to know, actually.
OK is winning with 47%. Well done is second place with 45%.
Oh, wow.
And I'm not a fan, to be honest, at 7%.
That's really good.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what else is really good, Stuart? An ad for dog food or something of the like.
Oh.
No, it was cat food. So close.
That was rhino food. Borg rhino food.
For all your space rhino needs. Yeah, this is definitely a scene where I like the fact they keep shooting and it's meaningless, because no one else would ever do that because it would be meaningless. But the kids, they have no other plan. So we never see that, so I liked seeing it. But none of them would think to remodulate, because we've never seen Gwen use a phaser.
No, they wouldn't.
In her
but you think that would have been part of Janeway's briefing?
That is true, but I guess she didn't want to fight the Borg. I guess you could argue she didn't want to warn them on the combat side of it because she didn't want to fight them. That seems a bit of a stretch. But she's only a training hologram, though. She wouldn't, and we've seen she can't just access all the databases. So maybe if we say they only had 20 minutes to get in, maybe you could say she didn't access all the information because she wouldn't just have it all straight away.
It's one of the most important things to know about the Borg, though. If they do start attacking you, remodulate your laser.
When?
You can get
they start attacking.
Yeah. Get 5 or 6 shots in, probably, which is better than 1. But hey.
No, I certainly agree with that. And you'd think via modulation you'd do 10, 20, 30, just up by 1%. In theory. They could have made a joke about that, couldn't they? They could have had a swarm and just 1% power, 2%, 8%, 9%, 3% power left! And we do see Dahl swap to a higher setting in the same scene, so we know he is not doing it. But I mean, talk about a hopeless situation. They put them in the we're screwed category pretty quickly here. You know, a deadly fall against 2 sets of Borg, all of which are shielded. Gwen's weapon, her organic bat'leth is failed. And you've got seconds left. I mean, that is a bad day, Stuart. That's a real bad day.
I love that the Borg broke the bat'leth and then she immediately turned it into a shield. That was kind of neat.
Very good. Yeah.
So,
but yeah, the lack of plan is funny because they're kids. They have nothing. They're not that smart. Let's be honest.
Yeah. And then the bridge breaks. Gwen falls, and I gotta hold on. And then Dal comes up with a brilliant solution, but I thought they jumped down. I thought they at least try to jump down. It's not that far, I guess. I don't know.
How do they get? Oh yeah, they don't, do they? There's no solution. They just get captured.
Yes, yeah. They just tell Gwen to run.
Yeah, the Borg would just jump.
Yeah.
That's not an obstacle for them. They haven't got fall damage. They can also beam down there if they wanted to, or fall damage. I hadn't even thought of that. But for me, I just felt it was a bit of a daft concept that these beams are so phaserable or trackable. I mean, phaser's fine, but it's that one slap got damaged? Okay, that's weird. And yeah, definitely weird they don't assimilate them here. It feels so like it's a close-up. You're wanting the assimilation moment. Now we know why, but it's oh, no assimilation. That's weird.
Yeah. I did like seeing him adjust the power on his phaser, though. That was nice. Even though the display is kind of just muddy. There's no real information there, except green and red. So.
Yeah.
Good tea, nice house. Throws in 280 Canadians. Thank you. Makes you wonder who designed Hollow Janeway. And SPS Guru 2000 throws in €5.
Thank you.
A great reference to include would have been Janeway handing them the iMod from Elite Force. Something we came up with last time we were here. That would have been great. But unfortunately, then they'd be able to keep firing. And that would kind of ruin the story a little bit. Well, actually, not really. I mean, Gwen could have fallen and got lost on her own or something, but the iMod, yeah. Forgot about that. I'm going to remind you guys again to hit like. Another 9 likes to get to 50 would be amazing. Next up, we got the Borg telling Zero to join them. And Zero's like, I'm not here for that. We have a thing aboard our ship, a living construct. It's a weapon. We need your, well, it's a destructive force to the Federation. And if it can hurt the Federation, it can hurt the Borg one day.
Which is a fair shout. I liked him using that. But the conversation revolves around to, good point, but counter will assimilate your ship and your weapon and it'll be good. No, don't do that. Yeah,
that's the only way we can help you is to figure out how it works, is assimilate it. And then, we'll use it to assimilate other people. Yeah. It's fine.
Don't know why it would. It's a weapon, it's not a simulation weapon.
Well, it spreads a virus, so it can spread.
Can't they do it? Haven't they got viruses? In their billions of races they've assimilated, one virus race? Yeah. Like that, like it's not going to be more advanced in what it can do than what they can do. It's just the fact that it can overcome things, I would think. But
keep in mind the weapon is from the future, so
yeah, but viruses only need to be so good to deal with most races.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, it gets tentacled. Well, the figment of Zero gets figmentarily grabbed.
Yes. Which we were like, how can a non-corporeal being be assimilated?
You
a lot of people
said
speculated it was because of the suit.
I was okay.
A lot of people have said it.
Okay.
But as Aaron said, it's more of a telepathy thing. They kind of, much like Chakotay in, I forget the name of the episode now.
Project Collective.
Oh. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Where he's kind of in telepathic communication with them, and it kind of overpowers his thoughts a bit. So much the same way. So non-corporeal can be assimilated-ish.
And what did you guys think? Were you guys bugged by that? Because for me, I didn't even flinch. As I said to lead writer today, that I like the idea that they can, and it assimilates a catch-all phrase, right? What they actually are doing.
Just turn to your side, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. Because he was obviously able to think enough inside of. Because most Borg don't speak outside of the pattern or even speak at all. Most Borg, but Zero is able to speak its own thing, so it had more power. But I like the idea they've found. Oh, and as Aaron pointed out, what are they called? What's the race called?
Which race?
Medusans? What are they called?
Medusans. Yeah.
The Medusans were such a low number species.
Species 802, so 802.
Which is shockingly low considering they could assimilate a race a day or more. And by the time you get to a galaxy-spanning or quadrant-spanning race, they probably are assimilating hundreds in a day if they want to be. They can. So that small means that they've known the race for probably 1,000 years, give or take, because the Borg they're 4,000 years old, I believe they said in an episode. So that's
like that.
And it would get exponential. So maybe it took a while at the start, etc. And there's obviously a plan here. They don't. And this is a figment, so all it is connecting to the brain. There aren't actually these tubules. It's just purely a brain-on-brain situation. So the power of the consciousness is able to corrupt the power of Zero's consciousness, and so it's non-corporeal. That's all it is. It's consciousness suppression, it's consciousness control. I kind of wish that, and this is again to a separate conversation, that normally when you assimilate, well, every time you assimilate, you gain the relative knowledge and access to the abilities of that race. So Zero, who if that's the same way memories are stored, they should know all about Protostar now, the drive, the journey, Tars Lamora, Diviner. That should all be part of the collective now, at least this cube. However, the question is, in a later scene or even in this scene, is the contact with Zero, because the cube is weaker and the brain is weaker, the Borg collective brain, does Zero's insanity generating aura spill over into the collective brain state? Maybe it's something they can hold off for a certain amount of time, but maybe that actually is basically a virus, infects this cube, weakens its mental, its psychic powers, whatever, and then maybe causes or is part, or even is the cube from Picard. How cool would that be if this cube's defenses, as it were, its brain, its vinculum was already sort of maddened by Zero, and then when it hits the Jat-Vash memories, takes a lot less to punch through, and boom, now you've got a dead Borg cube. I like that. I think that's an interesting idea. It's fun to retcon Picard. That's why. What do you think, Stuart? Because I mean, there's a certain logic there.
I like it. It makes a lot of sense for what happened to the artifact, because the Medusans are very powerful in that regard, and it's even stated here that Zero can't harm them within the vinculum. They actually say that specifically. But if it spreads to each individual consciousness, who knows what effect that would have, especially after they become aware, especially after, you know. So, yeah, I have no problem with that. I actually really like that. Makes a lot of sense.
That's actually more interesting, because I was thinking the collective voice, but yeah, if the insanity, if any Medusan makes a Borg collective insane, but the Borg can actively channel that into certain drones, make them insane, but there's so many drones it can keep on track, and so what, we'll kill 5,000 drones, we'll get 5,000 more. But yeah, what if they're making drones insane and that's just spreading like a plague within a plague, and it's the drones that are causing their mind to be diseased? Ooh, I like that.
That'd be great.
Because they're all seeing Zero's presence in the vinculum. That's kind of like it's a mind state as well. That's interesting. Cool.
Yeah. There you go.
There you go.
Then we got all these Borg walking along. They're all pretty much the same Borg design. They're switched off with different helmets and stuff.
You can notice the same. They're not particularly subtle. It's okay though.
But the whole Gwen wants to fight them or whatever, and Janeway says no, as long as you're not a threat, they won't be a problem. So she puts away her weapon and
takes a stroll.
I was going to bring that up to Aaron today as well. It's already been established that the drones want them, so you would think that, I don't know, I've always hated that about the Borg. Just wander around, not a threat, but somebody's on your ship. They're obviously there for some reason, and I don't know, it's always bugged me.
My take on it, yeah, this scene is definitely weak, but also, as you can see in the still, that one guy behind Hammerhead, that's the guy they phasered. That was in the alcove.
Yeah.
So, just saying. No, this scene's also problematic for me because I take the way the Borg don't attack unless they're threatened, kind of being like the Eye of Sauron. If you're in his territory and he hasn't noticed you, you're fine. As soon as he sees you, you're screwed.
Yeah.
And he won't unsee you.
She was there firing. She was there attacking them with the Batleth, and there with the group of people that were firing phasers at them.
Because they scanned her. They have sensors scanning her every second. There isn't a reset button, and these are clearly the same 10 Borg. So you know, make a joke of it's the same people seeing her, but there's no practical way the Borg would forget there's a fifth person. Like that's not. It's impractical, and she can't go invisible. She can't hide from sensors. There's nothing she can do that's special. Not just that, but she's an unknown alien life form with presumably a slightly different temporal signature because she's made using future tech. There might be something about that that's new. Like one Borg drone obviously notices her. She's special. She's unusual. She's a new. You know, why would she not have stuff to assimilate? Some perfection to add. This scene doesn't make sense this far through the story. I would be fine if she was being chased all the time, but they're just in walk mode for some reason, so she can always outrun them. That's fine. Like she's like parkouring. But this scene, it doesn't. This falls flat.
Yeah.
Because it just wouldn't be at this point. No. It's like
this
saying in
Jericho's-
all the different Voyager episodes, just go back and come back in 10 minutes. You really think they're going to all forget you? The red alert will stop on the Borg cube? No, they know you're there.
It's like Grand Theft Auto.
It is, yeah.
5-star until you get away from the cops, and then all of a sudden they forget about you.
100%. Yeah, but also she's on a tricorder. They can detect technology that's more advanced they've seen for Starfleet. That should be wantable tech.
Alyssa Jericho says if this does become the cube from Picard, it'll be the weirdest crossover ever. Really? What about Strange New Worlds and Lower Decks? That's the weirdest crossover ever.
Yeah, there are weird crossovers for sure. It's a
SVS
surprisingly
Guru-
organic crossover if you break it down. Surprisingly.
Yeah. SVS Guru 2000 throws in €5. Sometimes the Borg don't even see you as a threat while they are actively assimilating your ship. First contact. Yeah, I mean, yeah. There's a whole bunch of problems with that, and that just bugs me. The way they explain it is like a beehive, right? Bees are flying around the beehive. You can walk under it. That's fine. As long as they don't see you as a threat, they won't attack you. But once you swipe at a few of them, all of a sudden you got a whole swarm of them coming after you. That's how the hive mind is portrayed, like with the Borg, and you're not a threat. But I think it's really stupid, especially for like such an advanced sentient race like the Borg, to have randos walking around your ship and thinking that there's no threat. It could be laying bombs every like 5 feet. It's a threat. You don't want somebody in your ship, but whatever. It's an established Borg thing. It's fine.
Yeah, I like the reference there.
That's like an ant colony. Same thing. They do their business. As long as you don't start going after them, they won't attack you.
Yeah, I like the reference to First Contact. That's a very true example. However, that's got a slight caveat of the Queen is actively not messing with Picard until the end. That's an active choice. And also, they need to simulate the ship as soon as possible. So rather than actively attacking Federation that they know their shields will hold, like the personal, they just like ignore them and make the ship one with the Borg quicker. That's the priority versus assimilating people, because the threat is Earth, not the people. So
yeah.
Zango
76.
There's only so many drones on the AE for obvious reasons.
Zango says a fly is in your house, but it is not bugging you, landing on you, or buzzing. Do you start attacking it? If I see it, yes. Because I know it's going to be flying in front of me when I'm watching TV later, and it's going to annoy the shit out of me. So yes, I will squash a fly, even if it's not bugging me. If I see it, I'll get it. So yes. Yeah, the Xenobite Borg. Yeah, they're very much like the Hellraiser Xenobites. We get the old school assimilation technique, I guess, here, where they're strapped to tables. And we get the sad reveal. Zero has been taken from us. The green glow gives it away, man. This is another thing I was going to ask Aaron and didn't. Did Zero get to keep the new arm attachment thing? Apparently, because that's what she uses, or he uses to cut off the
in the last scene.
restraints.
In the last scene, he hasn't got it. So
Okay.
yeah, and this scene definitely felt weird that they're using a manual assimilation, but they explained it. It's fine, and I like the fact that this is such a cheeky reuse. This is the vinculum room, obviously.
Yeah.
I just lit differently, which is why it doesn't fit either room, because it's more. This still works better. The vinculum room is like, why is the most important piece of the ship in the most boring room ever? Like, because it's more.
You think it would be like the
Yes.
vinculum and then shielded, like with armor
Yes.
around it? It's not
And
accessible,
also, we
yeah.
see in Voyager's like control rooms with like cool display things. But anyway, lasers do nothing. Yeah, evil Zero. I will say, I think it's tricky when you don't know how it's going to be, but the way that the Zero actor vocalizes the drone-ness is very dull, and I was not engaged by the performance. But there's only so much you can do with go bland. It's like, well, okay then. So not a good performance in my opinion, but it's hard to do.
Yeah.
So I, who could do it? Like none of the voices were overly good this time. Borginess. But yes, green, evil, green.
SVS Guru 2000 throws in €5.
Thank you.
If there is a fly in my room, I'm getting some target practice with my airsoft gun.
And then you can tell your significant other, wow, what, the bug broke the lamp, the window, the ornament, TV.
So you gotta get one of the assault guns. It's like you actually load it with salt, and you shoot it at the fly, and it like obliterates the fly, but it doesn't do any damage to anything.
I thought you said assault gun. I was like, machine gun, Stuart? Really? No.
Well, it's called the assault gun.
Oh.
Yeah, it's called the assault gun because you just load it with salt. So
That's
you got a little
funny.
bit of salt scattered around, which is vacuum that up.
I hope it's
My,
like
my neighbor across the street has one, and he sits outside and just shoots flies.
I hope it's like the Terminator 2 gun where you have to like, so he just spins it.
Yeah, and you have to cock it. Yeah, you have to cock it each time.
But imagine full Terminator again, spinning it. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm required to get a fly. Yes.
But then the whole you don't want to hurt anyone. The Borg are making you hurt us or your friends. Yeah, it's the whole act of love thing. And we know that Zero's been racked with guilt about hurting Gwen indirectly, so kind of makes sense this would hit kind of, affect him. So.
I mean, it definitely comes across as we're winning with friendship.
Yep, it's very much a kid's message show.
Yes. Yeah, it's the most My Little Pony of all the moments.
Yeah, the Care Bears.
Like it's fine. I don't know how else you could do it, but it's very much a kids thing, and that's okay.
Then we see the tentacles like get blown apart, and Zero expands, and then you see like these little particles fly out and go through everything, shuts everybody down.
Not sure exactly what happened. Originally I assumed it was a physical wave that's stopping them, but I'm guessing it's more of a creative wave that Zero is sending a sleep signal. Because, as we talked about earlier, if this wave is literal, there's no chance it's going to fly 3 kilometers in every direction to take every Borg out. In which case, there are still lots of Borg left. The Winkler might be still active. There's still a threat here. However, if it's a symbolic one, more of a sleep command like Best of Both Worlds, then they all turn off.
Well, the whole changing from green to like was inside the vinculum. So I think this is just a visual representation of it spreading through the entire collective.
That is very true. That is
for the kids, because otherwise, even for us, because otherwise you'd be like, what happened? We would have linked that it was through the vinculum, but
it works fine either way. It just creates other little like, well, actually this or this. But yeah, if it all just fell down, you'd be like, oh.
This happened to Borg before though in Trek, where they just like deactivate when something like that happens.
But not normally the climactic moment of your one Borg episode for kids. Wouldn't have the same punch, they just all turn off. But yeah, they all are off. And if we assume the entire ship, then they're back to stasis and they can escape easily. And that's exactly what they do. That's literally that's it. It was as easy as that. They escape. All right.
Easy like pie.
Yeah. Only took 3.15 seconds. Bunch.
Let's see here. Hold on, my computer's.
But they get another beautiful establishing, lovely Nebula work as now they tell the audience. So this bomb, this weapon, yeah, the Borgs is.
Before that, though, I would to appreciate one line from Janeway.
Okay.
I've had enough Borg for 2 lifetimes. Unless they're flying away. Loved that.
Although wouldn't it be 3? Prime, future, hologram.
Wow. Yeah. Maybe it's implying there's going to be more Borg because the other 2 Janeways have had their fill. This is the 3rd Janeway. She gets a little more Borg. She had them for 2 lifetimes, but 3.
And you can never get bored of Borg.
full set.
Because that's a really nice exterior cube model. Just have for one appearance. Like they went hard on that.
They do say here, when they analyzed the living construct, the Borg determined it sadly cannot be deactivated or removed. So they just shut it up inside there. And it's like, what are we going to do? Can't contact Starfleet.
That's a bold statement. Like, it's there.
The ship has to be destroyed. Everybody's like saying, self-destruct the ship.
That's true.
So, I don't know.
I mean, you could just cut out this part of the ship. Because it removes.
Yeah. I say you need specialist help for that.
Yeah. I mean, they can't do anything. But yeah, it sets the playfield for future episodes. It is here. End of story. You know.
Just because our ship will harm Starfleet doesn't mean we still can't do good for everybody else. Because it hasn't hurt anybody else we come in contact with. So.
Which is a nice line, and they even do say that we can't get Starfleet yet. This is a problem for now. But considering they, in Prodigy, I said this before, they are very quick to resolve apparently large plot points. Defeating the enemy at Tars Lamora in the first season, part 1, etc. So they've already found the weapon, worked out it's not applicable, they can't get rid of it, and found Starfleet, and they can't find it again. 2 episodes in. They've already closed that relative chapter on Let's Go Find Starfleet. Now it is back to a week-on-week procedural, in a sense, with Dauntless being the chaser. So there must be a lot more story coming, because they're not really a padding sort of show. Each episode has something going on for a reason, so I was impressed and shocked how quick they were addressing this, honestly.
Stormhawk 427 says saucer separation. No, the ship is way too small. It does not have a saucer separation.
It hasn't even got a saucer. It's got a primary hull with a secondary hull attached.
Have someone outside the Federation remove it? Yes, that's a good answer. If they could find somebody. Maybe that's why Acuna shows up. He thinks he can do something. He's kind of a pirate, right? So.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's it. You're right. That has got to be it. Yeah. Because, I mean, the Borg don't know everybody. And in fairness, they've been off the grid for a couple of years. Who's to say Romans haven't developed something? We know how much they hate AI.
That's true.
Except when they have scientists to deal with them.
Yeah.
But then we end with a rather soppy, but you're the captain, you 12-year-old boy, 15-year-old boy. Lead us, you prepubescent unknown species.
I'm growing and adapting.
That was cute though, yeah. Well, I found the...
That's not the end.
No.
We got the Dauntless.
Oh, it warps in.
Shows up at relay station 721. And,
look at that bridge, Stuart.
Frightening.
Look at that bridge. Beautiful.
Frightening discovery. The relay station's been assimilated. Decimated, that's the word. And no sign of survivors. So, poor Mr. Lieutenant Junior Grade Barnes Frex.
Yes.
Nowhere nearby in his escape pod.
And Stuart, that... Well, first of all, they would have known this station was destroyed light years away. They just would have. That's how sensors work. Even at Slipstream, they would have had... you can't run a ship without sensors. 2, they'd notice that no signals come from the station, so therefore they'd know something wrong before they even got there. This isn't Star Wars, where Star Wars is very quick speed, but you can't know anything until you get there. Then, oh shit. That's how Star Wars works, not Star Trek. But also, with those scanning, the distress call of the escape pod would be light years detectable. So they should know like 2 or 3 hours beforehand. So all those things taken into account, I mean, my assumption would be that his escape pod hit some debris or blew up, or the station shot him, etc. And then maybe it would make sense for the virus. Because if you look carefully, I still see lights on the station. So it would make sense to kill everybody on the station and then leave wreckage to be discovered. Because if the computer's still working, as soon as they talk to the station, they've got the virus. So if the objective is then to kill everybody...
They beam over, yeah.
Well, no, they just do a wireless handshake. Like, just access the computer.
Or if they have to beam over and, like, relieve or retrieve data logs, bring them back to the ship.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe they killed the escape pod guys off screen, which is okay, sad but fair. And the station's still operational because why, as we said, why destroy the host of the virus? And maybe it was even sending signals still. Maybe it was, it depends how smart the virus is. So, and it only ends on a cliffhanger. We don't know. We don't see them deal with it and get a virus. That might be next episode. Dauntless might only last 2 episodes. We don't know.
But I hate how it ended, with Janeway saying, "The Captain Chakotay I know could never do this. I fear he's lost command of the protostar. And whoever gave this order must be stopped." Then we see the diviner with his brain activity, and he comes to with which again, it looks like he did when he was taking in all of Zero's appearance. So is he going to be totally incomprehensible when when they talk to him, because he's still engulfed in this madness and he's not in stasis anymore? Nice way to end out, but yeah, there you go.
More Dauntless. That's my opinion on the end. But hey, Diviner back on the game, back on the board. I am shocked and surprised. We both assumed to be gone a little bit longer than 1 episode. Literally. Crazy.
SPS Guru 2000 throws in €10.
Thank you.
They all also could have kept the guy alive so he could tell Janeway, "A bunch of aliens boarded the station pretending to be refugees and uploaded a virus to my station. Go get them." Yeah. Well, he could still be alive, for all we know.
Yeah, the fact they don't address him is a bit worrying, though, because he's the key. Yeah. He has the first-hand account. And he's still in the system. He has a short-range escape pod. They can't warp. So he is there still. So find him. Thanks.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yes.
Mark Lawrence, $5. Why do so many people use decimate wrong? Irks me every time.
I've heard that from a few people, yeah. It's very specific in usage.
Yep.
Doesn't mean what anyone thinks.
Nope.
But Stuart, this is your guys' chance. We are just over half our minimum. We'd love to get another, say, 35, 40 would be great. 50 likes, coming at 60. Vote in the poll right now. A few more votes would be good. Stuart will give his final thoughts and score. I'll do the same. Stuart will read the super chat thoughts. And again, if $2 you can put your thought in. I'll do the non-super chat. I'd love to hear all 38 of you's scores. Stuart, what do you think? Has your opinion changed after reviewing this with me?
Yes, it has changed a little bit. It's also changed because of our discussion earlier today with Aaron. But I really like the Dauntless stuff. I really want to see that. That's the kind of Star Trek I want to see. This is not the best episode of Prodigy, period, because it's just this season. But it's not the worst either. It's cool to have the Borg back. It was cool to kind of reference the neurologic pathogen and stuff like that. I thought that was kind of neat. But like I said, it's a very linear story. It's a very kid's story. Gotta go do this thing, then we gotta escape. And it's the whole power of friendship saved Zero thing. So it's kind of a very simplistic episode as far as Prodigy goes, honestly. So it's not going to be the highest score, but it's going to be a higher score than what I was originally going to give, just because we know a lot of more contextual stuff now about the Borg and answered a lot of the questions or problems or plot holes that we had.
And to caveat with that, there is that question of, did we just miss it? Or was it just not as well executed in the story? Because we have done this for a long time now. We're pretty intent in watching, and both of us had almost the exact same vibe this morning. There was very little difference of yesterday. So I don't know if that's them or us or both. Just saying, because we were on the very same page as yesterday on this, actually, surprisingly. Yeah. I thought you were going to love it, and we had the same thoughts. So.
Yeah. I do like Zero as a character. This is kind of more of a Zero-centric episode. The whole thing with it being on the ship, not being able to be removed, makes sense. Makes sense the Diviner would do something like that. But it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, because it's as simple, honestly, as beaming down to a planet, have Janeway beam down to intercept you and just say, whoa, 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 here's what's going on. Help us, because our ship is going to kill anything Starfleet.
Help us, Janeway.
Then they have
Kenobi. Your only hope.
Yes. Because then they'd have a chance of, all right, cool. Now we know the situation. I don't want there to be misunderstanding for too long, because that'll really frustrate me. PSD type stuff. I don't want that to drag out, and I don't know how it's going to go. So, all right. Score-wise, even bad Prodigy is still good Prodigy. It's not bad Prodigy, it's all right Prodigy. The Janeway and Dauntless stuff is really good in this. I just wish there was more of it. So,
okay, question before you say, was it better or worse than last week?
Why is my mind going blank? What was last week?
Asylum is when they, find the thing that just blew up.
Oh, yes. Oh,
and I'll remind you, that was a 7.8 you gave it.
I know.
Okay.
This was worse.
Oh, okay.
Still, in my opinion, it was worse.
Okay.
So I'm going to give this one a 7 or a 6.6.
Ooh, okay. Damn.
Which is kind of.
Oh, but it's not your lowest ranking. Just.
Which is my lowest ranking?
Starstruck, the one with the sun. Oh wait, no, I didn't know that one. That was my score. I gave it 6.5. No, it is your lowest by 0.5. Okay, wait, hold on. No, it's not. You gave the last episode of last season 6.7. So yeah, this is your lowest by 0.1. So this is just slightly worse than last episode of last season, or last chunk. Which actually that tracks, I would say.
It does.
Because that was not a good episode.
I'm gonna leave it.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it's a tricky one. It is, because I like it a lot more from rewatching after Aaron, after our debate as well about the Borg Cube. But that didn't feel like it was in the episode, and that's important. But knowing they did think about it at least tells me that this episode wasn't a problem of thought. It was a problem of 22 minutes and mostly a kids' show. They knew the answers, they couldn't fit them in. That is genuinely what happened here. Janeway, what happened here. And in fact, Stuart, in the last part of the season, we always had one story. Now we've got Janeway scenes to add, like real Janeway. So now we've now lost like 3 minutes per episode on a side thing. So now we've been getting less story for the main cast and more story to tell. Oof. This show they really should give him 30 minutes at least. My goodness. Jesus. But yeah, I liked it more than I did previously. I like the more logic. When I add my own TNG Borg retcon stuff, that all works better to me. It's a better paced episode than last week, just because I think all the explosion-y stuff, as we said. Yeah, I think last week felt more plot holey. Like we said, everything from the last third felt worse than everything in this episode. This is a bit weird, but it's not bad. You buy the Zero friendship bit, but I don't buy the why can't Janeway just match their velocity and pick them up. That's a leap beyond, literally a leap beyond logic to get there. This works fine. Once you know the Borg rationale, okay, helps a lot. I would have changed interior design, but I can't hold up against them too much because that's Picard. They screw up lots of stuff. I mean, they killed before, basically. They did all this stuff, right? Fine, whatever. The 2/3 of last week were better than this week, but the last third of last week was worse than this week. This week it's all kind of on a similar par. How do I value judge that then?
It's up to you, man.
Hello.
Everybody else is giving their scores. I gave mine. It's on you, man.
7.5. I did it. I said it.
Ooh. Wow. He said what he said.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, we got one super chat. Grant McGregor throws in $20.
Ah.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Saw the captain's log that came out before this episode. Don't know what the protostar is there to correct in the Delta Quadrant, and don't know why B'Elanna would help build the Dauntless. It feels dishonorable.
Because she wants to help Chakotay and help Delta Quadrant people and be an engineer, and she knows how to experience the Dauntless. She studied
Create
it.
a slipstream ship. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Like, it's an engineer's dream, man.
Especially she already did that. She already made Voyager a slipstream ship for like a day.
Yeah.
She's going to chance to make a full fresh one. And do you know how many things that Voyager messed up in the Delta Quadrant?
More than 3.
More than... Yeah. And how many things that they wish they could second contact to help again or check? And that's assuming everything we saw was all the stuff they did. I absolutely could buy that there's 20 or 30 or 100 more stories where they accidentally mess up a bit too much.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's fine.
Project Delta Swing By.
Now we'll need 12 Pro Stars for that, Stuart. Too many things. Yeah. Goodness.
All right, so no super chat scores, but that's all right. We're still $5 away from a good number, so
That's true.
another $5 super chat would be amazing to hand out. But Samuel's going to read the non-super chat scores.
And definitely, tomorrow, really good Borg Cube breakdown. It's very, very in-depth. We kind of went all in one because it was a good flow. And Sunday, really strong interview with Aaron. It'll be like literally world-exclusive level stuff, which is great. So, yay. Non-super chat scores. What do you guys think? Stormhawk, 7 out of 10. Stanley's 7 out of 10. Aussie, 8.3 out of 10. He's quite generous normally. Eric, 7 out of 10. Marco, 7.5. Ooh, BJ Hearn, 6.5. Good fun. Joseph, 7. Tara, 6.8. Devereaux, 7. Matthews, 7.3. Devereaux, 7. Matt Ballman, brutal. Out of 10. Okay, ooh, ouch. Jasper, 7 out of 10. And there you go. I mean, that's right between us. And yeah, people were not... That's right. This was an alright episode. People thought.
Yeah. Well, BJ throws in $1 looking for that last super chat snipe. But like I said, $5 would be great for now, but...
You know what they could have done with...
You want to say so? What do you want? What? Talk to me.
I feel like, why the hell did they have Rock go with them?
Because Rock's the science.
Did they science anything?
No, but they didn't know they could have needed it.
But isn't the danger of sending a child who can better take care of themselves? I guess they're the muscle, but wouldn't you think keeping Rock in the shuttle should be more sensible? The least able crew member who might be able to science.
Rock was also alone for too long. We don't know how long.
You've got Janeway and Murph. It's fine. It's fine.
Putting it out there.
But I can imagine if you remove Rock from the inner team, maybe a little more screen time with everyone else, and you could show Rock on the ship helping Janeway to like science to keep like them from being assimilated. Maybe. I don't know. Just thinking back, it's like, why are you sending a 6-year-old girl into a Borg cube? Janeway, you should know better. Naomi Wildman, you're on the team. What do you mean? Because you're smart. Get on the team. It's like she would never send Naomi Wildman. Like, you know.
Matt Borbin says, "Oh, mine is probably an 8 out of 10. The brutal was for Sam's score and review. LOL."
I don't watch Stuart's.
I gave it a 6.6, man.
I thought 7.5 was quite generous. Yeah, it's good, but again, it's limited by the kids show. The first time, it's a haunted house that's forced to be a U. It can only do so much, right? It's like Terminator 3. Without the violence of 1 and 2 with the 18 rating, it just is less. Not the story might be great, but there's something just... Yeah. And I would have absolutely loved if they'd said it's lost from the collective and all the different drones, as they're waking, started saying unique things. So clearly each drone had their own personality back, and so then the drones can attack them in different ways. Because they were trying to have their cake and eat it too, of being they're in the collective and droned, but also they're disconnected and not droned, but also they're TNG style, but also they're, hell of a mix.
And Tara, yes, you did miss that. We did point out that Murph was getting sick as a foreshadowing to the metamorphosis. The metamorphosis of Murph. Yes, we did mention that.
Yes.
I think you came in after that, though, because I didn't see you commenting until a little bit after that. Yep.
Cool.
So we can get another $4, another $5. That'd be amazing.
Ooh,
Somebody.
so
Plus, you get the last super chat slot in that way. So, or you can just start sniping in with dollars. We haven't had a snipe super chat, last super chat war in a while. So, hey, we're ready to hear the ricochets. Go.
Yes.
Go now. Fire. We'll close out this poll as well. So how were the Borg done, do you think, in this episode? Well done at 51% wins. Okay at 41%. And 8% not a fan, to be honest. So there you go. Well done, Borg.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Grant McGregor throws in an amazing $10 super chat. Thank you. 7.8. And not an 8, because Janeway didn't wince drinking black tea. Also, have an idea for a NX anti-Voth ship, because a holy run society can always go on a holy war. Yeah.
The big untapped race.
Absolutely they
Do a
are.
lot with that.
And Matt Boardman, $5. Resistance is futile, snipe. Oof.
Although, no,
There's one.
no, because we're in a Borg cube, we can get hit by the snipes and not be affected.
Okay.
We're immune to snipes. Haha. Every super chat's a headshot, but it won't affect us. Haha. Aha.
BJ Turon, member for 25 months at the rank of commander, so thank you, BJ. Thoughts and prayers.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Dino Wars, yeah.
Stormhawk.
Marco Van Osh with a €2.50 super snipe.
Ooh.
Thank you. And BJ, BJ wants that last super chat slot with $1.
The number's cranking up, Stuart, slow and steady. But read Stormhawk in a very action, like American, like yeah man sort of way.
Oh my goodness.
Read it, Stuart.
Read what? Stormhawk. Oh.
But in a very
I like
American,
my
like,
Borg.
yes sort of way.
Oh. I'll do it like you do. I like my Borg like I like my steak. Well done. Yeehaw.
Kentucky Fried Stuart, in reality, he's here. I clip that.
We made that joke about the well done with the whole poll earlier, so yeah. Rich Klein throws in $5, 7.2 out of 8. Can't wait for Admiral Jellicoe and Metamorphosis. Exactly. Matt Boardman, $2. Snipe. Cha-ching. Ozzy throws in $2. Donnie gives it a 10 out of 10. Donnie didn't comment his score. Thank you, Ozzy, for the update. Now we're only $15 away from our actual minimum.
Ooh. So
Can we hit our minimum? $15. Wow. $15.50. Let's just be fair.
It should be super easy.
Barely an inconvenience, some might say.
Some might just say.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of, did you ever download the Red Letter Media fan game that was made? The
I did not.
tour?
No.
Do you see it though?
I did.
It's fun. Although I will say, I played it, but I missed one cassette, so I couldn't unlock the damn everything else. There's actually like several layers of unlocks you can do that you don't realise until you play it, and I couldn't find.
Yeah.
And once you don't find one, it's frustrating as hell because there's some that aren't real ones. There's something on the ground, and it's like, but I was pissed at that. I was pissed at that, Stuart.
Oh my god. Matt Boardman saves the day with a $16 super chat. Okay, just because I like you guys. Thank you, Matt.
You had noticed that. Oh, Matt, what was your score out of 10? Don't think you said a number.
He gave it 8 out of 10.
Okay. That wasn't far off mine. Jeez.
And he says yours was brutal, and I'm like, mine was 6.6, man.
Yeah. What are these emojis? It's like Monopoly money. That's cool. What was that before? How did you get those?
These
Oh, they're all there. Ooh, shit.
Yeah. Rich Klein, $5. 5 more for Kentucky Fried Trekyards and Captain Axel.
Yes.
Trekyards is spamming corn now, apparently. And basketballs. And alligators. Or crocodiles. Could be crocodile, I don't know.
Yes.
The Jericho says 6.9 out of 10 just for laughs. Trekyards facepalm.
I didn't know this existed, shit. This is great.
Matt says, I got confused. I meant to say Stewart's was brutal. That's because usually Sam is much more brutal than I am. It's stuck in your headspace.
Although in Lower Decks,
Chris,
I gave every single episode more than you did, except 2.
Chris Parnell, welcome to the rank of Admiral. Oh my god.
Oh!
Come aboard, Admiral.
What's your first order to Stuart?
Yes.
Because Admirals beat Captain, as you know. Thank you, that's really, really incredible. I'm going to ding the Admiral bell. There you go. I ding the bell.
Ding.
You've now got wed to us with Admiralty.
Oh my god, here we go.
You've bullseyed into my heart. You're a star that shines bright in the sky with tractors.
So we're gonna have to put up.
Are these new, by the way? Are these new?
No, they're not. They've been there forever. You're just, I don't know, oblivious or something. Oh, Captain Foley. Look at that. Spamming Captain Foley.
Sorry, what?
I said you're spamming Captain Foley.
Yes. The one, the only, the Captain Foley.
But the true show is Team Trekyards.
Woo! Yes. So yeah, tune in this weekend for a great lineup and some smaller shows through Monday to Tuesday? Yes. And next week's episode, our tease has been minuscule, but I'm very excited by the tiny tease we got, personally, in our interview. So, as with all the Prodigy episodes, damn it, gotta wait another week. Because I'd like it to be right now if I could. That's okay. Although I wouldn't have just done content with you for 2 days on it, in a break.
We've infected the or we've assimilated the chat to just use emojis now. So.
It's a new world, Stuart. New world.
And Matt's like, should put Trekyards in a 300-second timeout. Can you put Trekyards in a timeout? I don't think that's possible.
That would be interesting.
No, you can't.
Ha!
I don't think you can as a moderator. We can't, and we're like in command here.
Our power is unmatched. You think you have power? No, no, no. No, young one.
And on that note.
That sounds fair.
If you haven't hit like yet, hit like. 3 more likes. But anyway, on that note, as we're closing out, if you haven't hit like, hit like. If you're watching this after the fact, hit like. Snoopy McQueen throws in $5 and says, love Prodigy and Lower Decks and Strange New Worlds.
Those are the 3 best ones.
Safe to say, yeah.
So until then, he is Captain Foley.
I am, and he is Commander Calkins.
He is. Bye, guys.
See you guys.